Tingnan mo, paano? Oh, ayan. Kita niyo?
Wait, you got
Nabihis na ako.
romantic. You got
Bakit si Maddie?
Naligo pa ata si Modi eh.
Naligo siya kasi nakita ni Elsie nakakamiseta na
Okay,
maluwag na.
do your kiss again.
No.
No more?
Don't record that.
Oh, yan.
We need
Help
to
me get in. Help me get in, please.
Rudy! Ano ba yan?
Okay,
Wala, I cannot.
kailangan makita ng mentor niya si Modi. Hold on.
Go, girl.
Makita mo si Modi.
Join in Zoom, right?
Makita mo raw si
Ay, ito.
Modi. Bilis.
Hi.
Ay,
Sabi, are you not
Brad,
going
kamusta?
to join the joint masa at 7 o'clock?
O, dito. Dito ka. Hindi ka makita. Tinahanap ko ni Cosme.
Hindi ba
Hi, Cosme. Kamusta ka na?
Five. Join.
Ba't kalahati lang?
Good.
Alam mo?
Ayan.
Uh-oh. The man in the background.
There you go.
Sige.
Piano pa yan. Mamaya.
Okay. I want to welcome everybody. We'll go ahead and get started. I am so happy that we're able to do this joint gardening. Hold on a second. With everyone, and I welcome especially the people who are here for the first time. And oops, somebody else is coming in. And basically, it's an honor to have the executive director of the auxiliary, Mrs. Maddie Rivera, to do a presentation right in her own home. Everybody has been at all
Sinong ibon yun?
here. Gardening done by Maddie. And so,
Hindi mo kita.
oops, okay, somebody's joining. So without further ado,
good.
okay, hold on. I will present Mrs. Maddie Rivera in the joy of creative gardening at her place in Cedar Beach. So let's give Mrs. Maddie Rivera a big welcome. Okay, take it away, Maddie.
Just you.
Oops.
Still talking?
Ang manok pala doon. May mga frog.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Elsie.
Okay, Maddie. Okay.
Are we all ready?
Yes. Let me just put it.
As Elsie
Wala
was
akong
saying,
makita. Wala akong makita.
Okay, can everybody see the slideshow? Let me put Maddie on.
puting lang. There you go. Thank you, Elsie. Now, can you see me, Annie?
I
Manang?
could not see
Happy now?
Maddie.
Enjoy creative gardening. Yun lang nakikita ko.
Okay. And
Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, just a minute. We've got a little technical difficulty here. Let me just get back to Zoom.
No.
Okay, Maddie, I need to spotlight you.
this is good practice for me.
Okay. Go ahead, Maddie.
Hindi makita.
I'll keep working on getting you online. There you go. Okay. Go ahead, Maddie.
No, I see you, Annie.
Oo nga, makita-kita pero wala yung pinapakita mo pa.
Okay. Now
Okay,
everybody.
in the bottom, there is in the bottom of your screen, there is a sharing ng screen. Can you push that?
No, she doesn't have to. No, she doesn't have to do that.
Kita mo, Annie.
No, can you
Sa
see?
baba, merong screen sharing.
Share content?
No, no, no. Can you see
Uh-huh.
Annie, can you see the joy of creative gardening?
Ang nakikita ko yung Joy Crate.
Okay, that's
Oh, that's good. That's good enough.
That's good enough. That's all
Okay.
we need to focus on.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay,
This is 7:30 now.
Okay, go ahead. Get started.
We have a very important date.
Okay.
Imodi.
All right.
Breakfast na kami.
Okay, I've recorded. Go ahead and start.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I am Maddie Rivera. I will give you a talk on the joy of creative gardening based on what I have done, based on what Modi and I have done in our home. If you are stressed or anxious already, social distancing disturbs. So why don't we try putting a little dirt under our fingernails? There are a lot of benefits of home gardening. Landscaping makes your house look good. It improves the curb appeal and increases the saleability of your house when you are ready to move. Another benefit of gardening is you can grow your own food. It will give you a lot of fresh produce for your family and a lot to share with your neighbors and friends. The garden can also provide you with fresh flowers for inside the house. And for party animals like most of you, the gardens make a great setting for special events or special celebrations and holidays. Okay, gardens also give us a sense of community. There are a lot of community gardening all over areas, especially in the city, where you could share a little lot and have some of your friends. Or another benefit of gardening, especially at this time of COVID, a lot of people are actually resorting to gardening of vegetables as if they are trying to provide for the rest of the year, just in case there is some unrest or shortage of food. A lot of nurseries have been very short supplies of seeds, as well as equipments and different kinds of plants that you might like. Okay, now, as I said, this is the joy of creative gardening. And this is from our place here in Prince Frederick, Maryland. And I have to do my own slide. Yeah. Can you see a picture of
Yeah. I
an
saw it.
aerial photo of Cedar Beach Place? This is,
Wow,
as I
nice.
said, on the Patuxent River. I'm gonna stretch my screen. The house is situated on a hill, actually about, I think about 12 feet above the river level. You come in from the left side of the road. It's a circular driveway. And we were so lucky. We are lucky to have a direct access into the beach or the water. And you don't have to go through a lot of, let me give you a bit of history. This is about 7 acres. It used to be a Cedar Beach Farm. Now we call it Cedar Beach Place because we're only 7 acres out of the 200 acre land belong to the Goldstein family. Remember Louis Goldstein, controller of the Treasury of Maryland. Yeah, good. So the family, the Goldstein family, they have 3 brothers, and they actually dominated Calvert County business at that time. The long driveway comes out of Heron Landing Way, and our mailbox is about half an acre away from the house. So that's good exercise for me if I just have to walk and get my mail. We have, on the approach from the mailbox or Heron Landing, main Heron Landing Way, you go through a one-way driveway. To the left would be a big barn converted by the original owner as a hangar for the airplane, probably just a 2-seater airplane. They have a long airstrip or runway, and of course, we are not using it anymore as well. Our barn has 6 stalls for horses, and we have a riding well, which unfortunately the girls were actually older. Lisa, the youngest one, was already going to college when we bought this property 24 years ago. So let me check my slides. Wala ko ng slides ko. I'm sorry. How do I do that? Okay, I can't do that. Oh, I'm going back. Okay, welcome to Cedar Beach Place. That's a little sign that we whimsically built, thinking that perhaps one day we'll have something going here, maybe a B&B for our friends, or not even friends, earn some money from overnight guests. But especially good when we are in some celebrations events. And I would not do this if my house is actually on the main road. We are very far from the main road. Nobody sees this, but our 3 neighbors next door to us. Anyway, so this Cedar Beach place, since we're talking about gardening, we have a couple of Hesperias flowering. They're all perennials, and you don't have to actually work on it every year. Replant is. I'm sure you know what perennials are. Perennials are plants that would come back every year, and it could either be evergreen or deciduous. Deciduous would let leaves fall off. The evergreens are evergreen, and we have a few knockout roses in the front. And to this day, this is old. This was newly painted when the daughter got married, maybe 19 years ago. So now I have planted a couple of dwarf crepe myrtles for flowers in the summer. And in front of it's a little bed for annuals. So I don't even have to plant annuals, but sometimes we're itching to see more colors. So well, the place would have envisioned what you are envisioning today. The place, when we got, I have this slide, can you see it? A fixer-upper or a money. So you can tell it's all brown. I think you cannot see a lot here. Why don't I go to the next slide? So the next slide are actually pictures of how the house, the property looks like, and on the top, and in the bottom one, how we have done it and how you would see it these days. On the top picture, you cannot even see a house. Next door neighbor, and when we were visiting them before we got this house, we never knew that there was a house there. You can see tall holly trees covering entire house almost, and there are greens. The the cypress trees are evergreens. So that's what you have to think of when you're landscaping your area. Make sure that you have a combination of evergreens and deciduous plants. Can you see there's a kind of vine, the wisteria vine that is hanging from the cedar tree, and there looks so pretty in the spring. Is grape-like wisteria, and those are actually the master gardeners here in Calvert would say, do not plant anything like that because they are so invasive, like bamboos. They are so invasive, and we have never had any problems with it until this year. This year we have a lot of wisteria pods everywhere that had actually seeded and grown into weed-like annoyances. Okay, let's go to the picture upper number 2. So this is how the front of the house looked like, the upper area. Can you see the holly tree? That's not gonna bother anyone because they don't have any neighbors. But I would have been so bothered if I had to live in that house, and you cannot even see the river because they're all covered, the windows are all covered with those humongous 2-story holly trees. They're pretty, but no cigars for me. And the bottom, so you can tell that we have really cut them down and didn't even plant anything in the front. To the side, we have planted dwarf Alberta spruces and a couple of dwarf Japanese maples. And I have planted a lot of the perennials, the rheopis, which is actually just like grasses, but very short. And the boxwood that we had planted in front of the house, I think I only have maybe a couple that survived. We have transplanted them from our house in Huntingtown, our original house, but didn't make it because of the harsh winds in the winter from the river. The next slide is the view of the pool and the cabana. See, the pool was really dilapidated, and you could only see debris after debris everywhere. Look at the top of the cabana. We call our pool house cabana, just for some reason, I don't know. And then there's a bath house next door to it, but it's really not good. So what we have renovated and redid the roof. We made it higher just so there won't be pulling up snow that would eventually be very heavy for the roof to carry, and subsequently flooding or seepage and flooding would occur. Around the pool are evergreens. We're lucky to have that. That's not ours, that's from the original owners. They have use and St. John's Wort.
Excuse me, Maddie.
Yes.
Are you showing that, or we are not seeing what you're saying?
Oh, really? Who, nobody's seeing it?
I'm seeing it.
I saw it. I'm seeing it.
You're saying it, I don't see it.
Why?
Annie, do
Who
you
is
see it?
Because I'm not doing anything. I'm just actually running the
Yeah,
slides.
it looks like, but I don't see any picture.
Oh, wow. I saw the picture.
Elsie, can you help us?
Oh, okay.
I'm not very familiar with Zoom still.
Okay, hold on. Okay, what's going on?
Pasita, just scroll it from
Someone, I think Pasita
Down,
is
left
not
to
able to
right.
see the
I
screen.
don't see
So I've
any.
been talking and telling them
I just see Maddie
use.
and a bunch of others.
I can see it perfectly.
Yeah,
You have to slide it
I think-
to
I
the
I am
left.
seeing too. I'm seeing it too.
Yeah, it's just you, Pasita. I don't know if you have to re-enter. But go
Okay,
ahead.
I'll carry on.
Carry on.
So to the right of the pool area, there are a lot of oak trees which are probably at least 50 years old. And we have made a little area in front of the pool, which is actually a little island where I could put my a lot of plants. I have a yellow lilac over there, a lot of the herbaceous peonies, a lot of lilies and irises, and in the spring it's a cacophony of colors and texture. And I wanted it that way. We wanted it that way because at least when the pool is still closed, you are seeing a little bit of nice things in there, such as the flowers. We also have a little hot tub to the right, and there is climbing rose, saffron rose, climbing saffron rose, which is very fragrant and very enticing. Here's another slide. It's the south side of the house facing the pool area. If you could look at top picture, you could still see the famous holly trees that are covering all the good windows. And there is also a nice, I don't have any pointer, deck on the other area. So we have renovated it. And again, from the pool, the renovated area, you could see the little island I was referring to a little earlier. And so that gives a little bit more color and attraction from the pool itself facing the house. Okay, Modi wanted me to say that to the right is actually our master bedroom. And it's always nice because we could see the river as well, the south side of the river, and as well as the pool, especially when there are company or that we are not invited in, like when we have children or an organization using our place. I really didn't have to be there all the time, but we could watch them in case of if there's any emergencies. You can see that the grandchildren are totally enjoying the pool. Next slide is the back side of the house. This is where we enter all the time. It's across from our garage. There again, your holly tree overpowering the house. And that deck or fenced-in area on top is now our bedroom as well. So we have a bigger bedroom and master bath. So in the bottom, we eliminated all the trees, the foundation plants, and just put flower boxes that we put heavenly bamboos. These are the nandinas. You could tell it's September because I have my cart of greens cuttings from the area. We have a lot of junipers and hollies and pines and you name it, we have it. And the nandina that I was referring to would always have berries. So you have the berries from almost October to the following spring. And that's the Psalm 23, which is actually the Good Shepherd watching over us and blessing our guests as they come in. So this is another, that's our cell. That's our 3-car garage. So it's a fixer-upper, as you could tell, because we made a gem out of it after the renovation. So what's interesting is we have a lot, the green, dark green thing on the top picture. It's like that when they're not flowering, but in the middle of summer, you could tell that we have those crepe myrtles, fuchsia. It's so thick with flowers, and we have 11 of those lining up what I call my English garden. I will show that to you later. So that's the 3-car garage, and of course we don't have 3 cars, and all. And Modi want me to tell you that we don't have a car in the garage. Right now, we still have office equipments in there, as well as charts and whatnot. Okay, so this is work in progress. This is when we actually purchased the house. We were still working. We still owned the other house, but on weekends we would come here. We decided not to move into the house until the grounds at least
Okay.
were ready. So you could tell that Modi is not planting rice on top on the gutters. Those are weeds that he had to actually remove. On the left-hand side are debris that we have personally pruned out of the many trees and under bushes from the house. And we have maybe 4 dumpsters coming in over a period of time. And to the right is the same thing. It needs a lot of work.
Thank you. Thank you, Elsie. I got it.
Okay, so these are my consultants, my sponsors. We have to really make, especially our families agree with what we were doing. So the children, as I said, they were out of the house at this time. This was our first Thanksgiving. This place on the top picture, and it happened to be Modi's 50th birthday. So it's a milestone, acquiring a new house on his 50th birthday and our 25th wedding anniversary. The left picture are our family, members of the family. Even our mothers came to Maryland to check on us. They were questioning why we had to sell our beautiful house in Huntingtown, but they gave us their blessings. My mother and his mother alike, upon seeing that the water sits on a nice waterfront property. To the right is a picture of my advisors, my consultants, Ellen Moran, I think she's there, Charito Santos, Christy Lati was there, and Myrna Lopez. Unfortunately, Annie could not come. So that's the access to the beach. We've seen it before. So as you come in to the house, this is what you see. No more holly trees. Mountain laurels that they planted, as well as the rhododendrons, but because they're so old and have been we're not protected or taken care of for so long, they slowly die one at a time. So I replace it with azaleas and knockout roses, and you can see a little island that we have lined with hostas. A lot of spring flowers there, helleborus, peonies, combines. And again, all of this are perennials. Actually throughout the season. There is also a flagpole in the middle, which is, I don't know whether to use an American flag or a US flag or something else, but depending on what guests we're having. So that's another approach from the access road. This is the bottom of the circular driveway. And this is what friends would see if we had parties, because our guest parking area, big one, actually, down here. And again, you can see a lot of irises.
Just go there. Just go there. Just go there. Just dito ka na.
Yeah. We just sent it. We just got it.
So I've been telling you the theme for us landscapers or gardeners here is to select plants that are low maintenance, because you have to consider watering them as well. Fortunately for us, I know Elsie was asking me where I got the water from, because sometimes it takes us a couple of hours just to water all the areas. But watering, piece of advice, you don't have to water every day, as long as you keep watering the plants a little longer, giving them 3 inches of water at a time. So you could do it every other day or every 3 days if you do that. Watering the plants lightly will just distress the plant. Teasing me some dinner. Think you've seen this. The bottom is a little sign there. The sign says RM on Golden Pond. We have dedicated it to our parents. RM Rivera Madrinian was my maiden name. Is my maiden name. And so the Golden Pond, we just saw the movie at that time, starring Henry Ford and Jane Fonda. So this is for the front of the house. Since I didn't have any foundation plantings, I have actually planted roses, or this is your container planting now. Okay, if you don't have space outside of your house, you could always do container plantings in pots and whatever you could find, boxes, empty bottles or drums, or even tires or shoes. So, so this is Sydney helping me take care of my roses. And a lot of these plants, I said, the only thing that you have to do would be weeding, but I lied. You have to continuously prune dead flowers. So again, not to distress your plants. And so you are putting all the energy of the plants, not on the dead flowers, but into new sprouts, new whatever, yeah. And then I have 2 planters over there too. Okay, so this is the view from my living room. Because as I said, it's nice to have a planter. So the planter in front would have annuals, different kinds of annuals. I go to Walmart sometimes, most of the time, especially here because some of the nurseries were closed, are closed, still closed, or slow to open. So Walmart at this time have very good prices and a lot of variety. I don't know how they ended up having a lot more than the local nurseries here. But this sunset, you could see, I think I frame it nicely here. You could see my annuals on the container planter, and then you could see the sunset and the dock from my living room. Also, you could see the end of the lawn is it's a living fence. Because we have little children before, Sydney is now 16, Andrew's 13. We never wanted them to actually go astray and fall into the ravine. I was telling you before that that's about 10 to 15 feet above the river level. And so what we've used are like knockout roses and bayberries, and I have a lot of Stella de Oros, and that's about it. Sedums. Again, you choose plants that would not require a lot of watering. Otherwise, you'll be watering all day. We have a automatic sprinkler system that would help us with our lawn. That's why our lawn looks so good. And a lot of the landscape areas. But when you start planting into container boxes, then you end up, doing a lot more work. So those are more view of the sunset.
That's beautiful, Maddie.
Oh, thank you.
That's like Oscar.
You're still seeing just me, right?
Am I the only one not seeing the scenes? Am I the only one?
I
I
can give
cannot
you.
see anything.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay. I think Elsie is recording this, so we'll give you a copy, or you could just log in
Remy,
later on. This is the view of the front of the house. This is one of the. We love having a get together Easter time. So the kids are getting ready for the Easter egg hunt. So these are families, and a lot of these are like godchildren. The parents are our godchildren. I think Annie was here, Christy Magpantay was here, everybody with grandkids. Okay, this is Game of Boche. I waiting for the Easter egg hunt, I guess. And I have to say something about this. This is this bloom where you are planted. And one of my pet peeves is one of the people in the house doing the pruning for me. And apparently sometimes they're not thinking. And so somebody pruned this roses to the bottom, you know? And you could just imagine how livid I was when that happened. So it didn't make it, you know. As I said, you know, you have to know what you're doing as well. Don't be prune happy, scissors happy. And I had to replace it, and it takes a while before it grows that big. So be careful with your pruning. There are a lot of resources. I mean, I Google a lot, you know. If you have a lot of questions, I would have my phone open so I could answer you wisely. Okay. Yeah, this is the entrance to the beach. So as I said, it's very convenient. We don't have to actually go through the woods or wooded area. There is a current law or mandate, oh, not current, it's been for about 20 years, that you cannot build your house close to the water. It has to be about 1,000 feet away from the river. So we were lucky that we are able to see the river from our vantage point, the house. We had a property before. We thought it was good for investment, but it was seated on a hill, but there's no access to the beach. And you cannot cut down trees anymore, nor cut down underbrushes. It's part of the ecological rules that all of waterfront properties, everybody should, yeah, be following it anyway. So as I said, we're lucky, and we just continued, have continued landscaping every area. So again, there are evergreens over here, bayberries, roses, and sedums, and lilies would surprise us that time. Okay, so nice and good. We have a nice property on the water, nice beach, nice covered boathouse. But where's the boat? Modi never wanted to buy a boat, so our handyman gave us this paddle boat. And so, yeah, he's been working on it for the longest time, and the kids, the grandkids love it. So that's a view of the beach as well. Okay, so the south side is the pool area. It's the party room. We have the cabana, I mentioned that earlier. And you saw that. And those are cleomes. There are annuals, but they reseed and they're easy to grow. So how beautiful that is. And it won't cost you $5 to actually plant that. Just have to water them. Okay. So the side of the house also is a humongous tree. That's a maple tree, believe it or not. And it's, yeah, it's probably about, oh, I don't know, maybe 100 years old. You look at the dimension of the trunk. I mean, the circumference of the trunk. So we have St. Francis of Assisi there. the patron saint of animals, blessing us as well. So we have herbaceous peonies there and lilies and whatnot. We have a greenhouse. It's sunken, and we haven't been using the greenhouse to raise to grow plants. Basically, there for my seedlings in the early spring, and a storage for whatever we have that we couldn't find any more storage. So right now, the thing about greenhouses, you have to provide air conditioning in the summer. It cranks up the windows on top, but it's a lot of work. So we just assume not use it. And then of course in the wintertime, you have to heat the darn place. And we could hardly heat the house or cool it in the summertime. So we said, oh, no, we'll just use it as what we're using it for right now. So you can see banana trees over there. They come back every year. If you want one, you could just call me and you could, yeah. And that little box there are my herbs. I have a lot of herbs, oregano, sage, what have you, mint. Mint I separated because they're so invasive as well. But those are my herbs. And I have parsley, oregano, coriander, a lot of basils, arugula. And the other side of the greenhouse are camellias. Camellias are ginger lilies, and good for me. They are perennials. They come back as long as the temperature, I guess, doesn't go below freezing.
Where did you get the seeds for the camellia?
I'm sorry.
Where did you get the seeds? Di ba Philippines yan?
No, we don't plant seeds. Those are tubers. Like you know the ginger that we eat, but these are the ginger plants, our flowering plants, the camellia. So the tubers would multiply, and as long as you mulch the area a lot during, especially in the wintertime, they would come back for you. I got it from Meding Aguja when we visited with her in Florida, and still alive. And it's so fragrant. I mean, you remember camellias from. And this side of the greenhouse is actually my nursery for sick plants. This is where I grow things. I have grown figs and calamansi for giveaways. Okay, we have a secret garden. It's basically the focal point is a colorful bottle tree. For no significant reason, bottle, you know, we're not alcoholic, you know, just for its fanciful and playful look. So I'm always waiting for colorful empty bottles from our guests. When you come here, do not have to give me wine. Empty bottles are good. Exchange for Maryland crabs. How about that? On the ground would be the cast moldings of the grandchildren's baby footprints and handprints to memorialize their development at that time. The ground is also covered with we design with the children or grandchildren. We design like stars or whatever the fancy for the day or the season was. So shells, much of which are from the Chesapeake Bay oysters from this area that we have shot and consumed in season. The grandkids, of course, would get their shells from the river as well. And in that little secret garden, we have, I think, about 5 purple crepe myrtles that are so beautiful in the summertime as well.
See that.
Okay, so this is the back entrance for family and friends. They said back doors are the best. So we've seen this before, sorry. But this is the nice close-up of Psalm 23, the Good Shepherd. And we got this from Vegan special place for me. We had our one of our medical missions. Medical missions one time, and Modi and I and Tess, our daughter Tess, was with us. So we went on Crisologo Road and just look at things that we could take home. And this, believe it or not, is about how many pounds? 100 pounds. Very heavy, old wood. And I think the president at that time was Rick De Leon, and Jean Ciruno gave us a thumbs up, and so we purchased it. Took it home. So we could say that we have been blessed, and all of our friends coming that back door has been blessed as well. Okay, so let me show you a small collection of statues. Most of them are made of bronze. So we have the children with ice cream, and you can see all the plants that I was talking about in front of the house. And we started collecting all those when the grandchildren were growing up. I mean, they're small, even before they were born. So they grew into it. I have another boy flying a duck. Is that a duck?
Just got it.
He just got a duck. And these are infants and a swan decorating our pool. And Modi bought that boy washing a dog. And all the kids at that time had dogs. So there you go. So on the porch, we added a couple of children reading, because Sydney and Andrew, I mean, they are readers. They started reading before they can even talk, I guess. I don't know. That's what I thought. So here is an artwork from, a metal artwork from Durham, from Chris. And you know, it's beautiful, very comfy. And at one time, without the butterfly chair, I called that my Serenity Garden, because it really looks good. And if the weather is good, it's nice to actually do some stretching and some meditating in that area. The area has a platform, which is actually about, how many, about 20 feet square. And it used to be a kennel for dogs when they do fox hunt and when they ride the horses. But we took it down because, yeah, Modi doesn't like dogs, I guess.
That looks like a botanical garden, Madi.
Okay, so let's go to our English gardens, the CML garden. CML, we've used that acronym for Chris, Merites, and Lisa. We've used it with even our office. We used to have an office on the main road in Prince Frederick, and we have called it CML, referred to it as CML building. So anyway, so there you go. So we went crazy naming all the little places. So we have CML gardens, and you can see the white azaleas, and there was an iris popping up in the foreground. And more of the English garden that we have. Most of this, all of this actually are perennials. The only thing that you have to do is prune and take care of them and fertilize them as you see fit. There's a lot of, these are herbaceous peonies, and of course some roses on a gazebo, like Modi calls it a cage. Not quite cage. And a lot of azaleas, arbor. Okay, so here's a close-up of that little arbor that I was referring to. Those are azaleas marrying the saffron roses, which is so fragrant. There are more of that. So that's a view from the road. Those bamboo-like structure or plants, trunks, are actually the crepe myrtles. And they gave us a lot of colorful blooms. I lost the pictures. I took it from my album, a couple of them, and beautiful pictures with fuchsia, full bloom fuchsia flowers from one of the bedrooms, and I misplaced it, so I don't have it in pictures. The thing about the house is I think almost all of the rooms in the house, except the bathrooms in the back, would have a little view of the water. So we are blessed that we don't have neighbors. So if you open the windows to the south side, you know, you can see the water, and same with the other sides of the house. So that's again the English garden. And there you go, a lot of colors. I think my picture, I didn't edit this, so but it's a good place to have a picture taken. And my old man cannot help but take pictures of anyone who would ask. Of course, I'm always a ever willing volunteer. The back of the garage is another cemented road, so that when we park in the garage, we don't have to actually, you know, drive reverse. So we could just go ahead. And that area is lined with a very fragrant lilacs. So I don't have the picture right now, but that's those are the lilacs. Okay, so how about visiting my Sampaguita's garden?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss it.
So
Wow.
different kinds of Sampaguitas. I still have them, but they're not blooming this time. We had
right?
we had a holiday in almost 10 days in South America in November, and then we went to the Philippines in January and didn't come back until end of February. So most of my plants are almost died. So they're catching up. So I have 2 or 3 actually blooming right now, but those are a kampupot, single ones. The pictures would say 1,000 words, so you could look at it and enjoy it. Okay. So I'm missing this cacti. This is the famous night blooming cactuses or cacti. It's called Sirius. If you watch Crazy Rich Asian, remember how what is the name of the family? The Chang family, they made a big party out of the idea of presenting her night blooming Sirius to their guests. So here I am. I mean, enjoying my fuchsia cacti or cactus, but that's gone. I have little ones, and my friend Norma from Philadelphia sent me baby ones so I can plant, because when she visited with me last year, I gave her one, but she had to purchase, but very small. So the one to the right is the white one. I was holding a dinner plate. This is how big each of them is. I still have that. And the thing with Sirius is you could prune them in spring, and it's better when you prune them because then they're not wily like that. It's not occupying space, because without the flowers, they're ugly. I mean, yeah, they're not very pretty. In terms of watering, you do it as you would do any of the cacti. Why do I have to say cactuses? Cacti, and you have to really test the soil before putting any water in it. Flowering fertilizer, 10-10-10. You could use 10-10-10, regular 10-10-10, and probably when they're blooming maybe every season when they're blooming, when growing time. 10-10-10, you're familiar with the composition of the fertilizer. There's nitrate, phosphorus, and potassium, right? Nitrate is responsible for the leaves, the middle one. Phosphorus responsible for flowers and rooting, deeper, longer rooting. And the phosphorus or the potassium is just for strengthening the entire plant. I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyway, okay, and so welcome to our vegetable gardens. Okay, that's why we have grandkids, so we could get some help in the garden. Sydney on the left is actually picking cherry tomatoes. Andrew was watering my plants. I was, I think, pruning or picking up picking sitaw. Modi's talking. Ano? Oh, he was saying I lost weight. Okay, so sitaw. The thing about vegetable gardening, okay, rule of thumb, don't plant anything that you won't eat, okay? It's very popular is planting zucchini because they're easy to grow. But if you don't like zucchini, you'll have tons and tons of zucchini early summer or late spring. So unless you are into baking zucchini bread and giving a lot of those to your neighbors, then you could do it. To the right, this is this Modi cheated. This is the only cheat here. We just came from Oriental grocery here, and you can tell we have jackfruit, which I don't plant, and bagoong, which I don't make myself. But
You got mango there.
a mango, ripe mango, and papaya, and a sincamas. So this is how we love Oriental vegetables. And the problem is we have to actually trek at least an hour to any Oriental groceries or supermarket from where we live. So it's best for us to plant our own. Okay, these are friends visiting. Some classmates from nursing school. You can see I have patola there. And, yeah. And I was lucky 1 year and never happened again. So I did the right thing, took a lot of pictures of this chayote plants.
Yeah.
And I think I have a few mature zayotes there. But the thing is, it has a longer growing season. So if you're not in Florida or maybe Georgia, your growing season here is quite small, short. So yeah, by the time they get to flower, it's almost September. And then before they are actually ripe or big enough to be harvested, it's already October and it's cold. They don't like the cold weather. Okay, so just a point, the joy of gardening, the kiss of the sun for pardon, the song of the birds for mirth. One is nearer God's heart in a garden than anywhere else on earth. And we're not finished yet. We have a little bit more. So to summarize, gardening improves your physical health. You can see all those gardening equipment. It's equivalent to a group of muscles that we have. So that, I think what they were saying is, that's the original full body workout. So what they're saying is if you are using a long pruner to the top right, you're actually exercising your biceps. And then if you have a pike, you're doing your abs. If you believe this, you believe everything, right? Okay, so, oh, Modi wanted to point out, lots of interaction, that if you have a challenge with your buttocks, then you could do push my cartwheels. Wheelbarrow. Okay, so let's to summarize. Gardening can help you burn lots of calories. 1 hour of light gardening and yard work burns 330 calories, more than moderate pace walking for 1 hour. Raking leaves for 30 minutes can lower your BMI and your blood pressure. So if you need to have some exercise and you don't have a garden at home, you are welcome to come here and visit us. And I will ask you to rake my leaves for 30 minutes, and we promise to lower your BMI and reduce your blood pressure. Okay, it's good for the bones, exposing your skin to the sun Very, very careful to use sunblock though. Prompts the body to produce vitamin D. Vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium, essential for bone formation. That extra calcium absorption plus exercise would strengthen your bones and will delay osteoporosis, minimize bone loss, and help prevent bone fracture and loss of height and kyphosis. Okay? Growing your own food will make you eat healthier. Children are always encouraged to try and eat food they grow. So when they always love to eat what they grow themselves. You can plant your own fresh salad mix in the spring. You can harvest oriental vegetable in the summer, and even have fresh fruits and vegetables to can and preserve for the whole year. Okay, gardening relieves stress. Gardening has been shown to be correlated with reduction in stress and symptoms of anxiety. It teaches people that they have control over situation. Learning new skills and seeing plants grow restore confidence, and adults and children value themselves better. To top it all, to your garden is good respite from electronic media and the television. So how do you get started? Almost done. So how do you get started? You have to assess your needs. Not because you see a neighbor with a beautiful garden, you know, just go ahead and embark on doing the same. Do whatever makes you happy. If you're allergic to sun, you don't want to be exposed to sun, by all means, don't do a vegetable garden. You start small and slow. You have to consider your available time. Maybe it's time to retire for those people who love to garden. I mean, also consider container planting. I've shown you that before, that you could actually plant in container pots and whatever you have. And the thing about container planting is they're movable. You can move them from one place or the other. If you have a party, you could move a pot of nice flowering pot inside as a table arrangement. And you could also join community gardening. Share your interests and responsibilities with your neighbors. We're looking into a place in Alexandria, and one of the draw is actually their community gardening. So it's hard, it would be hard for us to give up this place, but age is creeping us on us. So we have to consider looking for a place, and that community garden, as I said, is an attraction. So I could meet more guys, new neighbors. Assessing your needs, continuation. So you have to know if you are into it for flowers, or you could garden for fresh fruits, or perhaps for just exercise. You have to consider your where you live. You have to know your hardiness zone. You cannot be planting mangoes and jackfruits and all those rambutans here where we live. So check your hardiness zone. Do you have anybody else to help you? You know, please don't be embarking on big projects like that if you're actually going to enslave yourself doing what is supposed to make you happy. Okay, location. Choose a location where you can attend to and enjoy your garden. It's one of our challenges here because we are so spread out. I mean, the property I was telling you is about 7 acres. About 3 acres of it has been landscaped. So you have to know your orientation of where the garden is. That's a good thing about a big property though, because then I can plant some plants at the back of the house because that's shady, or plant the vegetable garden part of the house that is full of sun. How much space is available? You know, how much water is available for you and your plants? I have deep wells source of our water supply. Otherwise it could be you raising your water bill. You have to know the type of soil that you have, the pH level. You have to know if there are natural barriers, slopes, embankments. The choice, consider long time. Okay, so you have to consider that in the long run, this gardening is time consuming. It's very expensive if you have to do and buy everything you see, like I did at one time.
Okay.
Almost done. Okay, that's the gardening zone. I don't know where you guys are coming from, but we are in zone 7 in Maryland. I think Elsie, what are you, Elsie? Zone 5? Are you eating dinner? Okay, and people in Florida.
Yeah, probably Midwest. Yeah,
That's
about zone.
why they can handle those tropical Philippine technology. And then, of course, the average and extreme outdoor temperature you have to consider as well. Okay. And yeah, and you have to have the energy to do everything else in the garden.
Look at you.
And that's Miss Maddie. Cutting grass
You have a
3 hours each time. But I enjoy it as long as it's not hot. This is how I could see the lay of the land and listing in my mind what Modi needs to do, as I see when I ride my John Deere. The investment has actually paid off. That's a very expensive John Deere, more expensive than one of our cars, old cars. It's a zero turn, so that when you are mowing or cutting grass around a tree, you don't have to actually do diagonally many times. You just have to go around the tree. And it's very, very stable. He took a video of me doing a slopey area, and he used to actually yell at me when I do that, but now he's so used to it because I'm older. I can go, I think. Okay, so I think that's about it. So that's the same poem. That's a blessing. And for the upcoming celebration, yeah, the kids are still social distancing, so they won't be here, but the oldest daughter will be coming tomorrow for the 4th of July. First visit since Christmas. So wishing you all with a happy port from our home to yours. And thank you for stopping by. And Elsie, may I request you to play a smile box for us?
Okay.
Just a comment. Just a comment.
Okay, answer question.
I would like to, you did the opening remarks. You are the guest speaker. Would like to hear the final words from my compadre. Closing remarks.
Okay, compadre, come here.
No, is that Don Rudy?
Yeah, I could not get in. I could not get in.
Oh,
It's
okay,
I see.
we're not yet done. She has another presentation here, but
Do we have?
we'll honor your request later. Okay.
Oops.
There's some more that she wants to talk about.
Oh, thank you.
We have
Let's have Dr. Rivera.
Hi.
Closing remarks.
Compadre.
Yes, sir. Oh, there he is. There he is.
You missed it. Hold on a second. I'm gonna switch this.
Do you have any other questions before you play the video?
Turn around with you.
Okay.
A picture or
Elsie, can you see the sunset?
Wow.
Okay, hold on.
Going out. It's not as bright.
That's good.
It's not today, right? It's not today.
Huh?
Is that today?
What beach is that?
We are live.
Oh, because over here we have storm, typhoon.
Thunderstorm. Okay. That's why
Yeah.
it doesn't look as pretty as it
But it's pretty.
always is. Because
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
better.
can see the sunset.
Okay, smile box.
Okay, Maddie, you need to let go of the control so I can. You gotta close
You
what you
share.
have.
So, saan yun? Stop video?
Yeah.
Stop share. Okay.
Stop
There you
share.
go. I can see you now.
Okay, hold on.
That
Annie's
time
sleeping.
I see a part, but I don't know.
Okay, can you guys see this
see anything.
picture of the house now?
Yes.
No, I did
Yeah.
not. Maybe I'm the only one. I
Yeah,
did
well,
not see any
this
of
is
it.
being recorded, Pasita.
Baga.
Wala na.
What is that?
So the bonsai, those are bonsai wisteria.
Beautiful.
They're very pretty. And I just got it. There are weeds around here. Our garden. There's one of the tree peonies. Easter. Preparing for Easter. Hanging trees. Easter eggs on the trees.
I do not see any.
It's the baby now.
Sorry.
Ooh.
Oh, beautiful. Do we have your lives?
Flowers, Maddie. Where is it?
No. Oh, I have done this first.
Am I the only one not seeing anything?
I'm not seeing anything also.
Okay, we
So
are catching crabs and perch and all those. Like,
just sit tight, I guess. Have a glass of wine.
the sunset.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, you can see now.
Part of our corral has a bale of hay in the fall. Mas maganda sana slide siya, no?
Remy, do you see anything,
Yeah,
Remy?
everything.
How come I don't?
Christmas.
She didn't see anything?
No, I do not see anything. Except the pictures.
Sorry.
What's happened?
Ever since.
Winter
So that's how it looks in the winter time. So it's very good if you have evergreens. Okay, thank you for stopping by. That's it. Do you have any questions?
Wow.
My
Great
compadre.
presentation, Maddie.
Closing remarks from my
I
compadre.
just finished the slide, the PowerPoint, making pictures into the PowerPoint until almost 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Wow.
But I was learning something. I like that. Now I know how to do it.
Maddie,
Yes.
you should label all your flowers, your plants with name.
You know,
Level
the children.
Oh, for the children.
Put
But
labels.
yeah, we have actually slowly putting uprooting a lot of very specimen perennials and taking them to their houses right now. So yeah, it will be slowly.
Yeah.
Especially the.
Any questions for Maddie?
Do you have someone to manage?
Yes.
She didn't see anything.
Yeah, I know. I'm blocked off too. I don't know why.
I will post this on YouTube, and so you can review it.
Okay.
Oh,
Good.
Some people have a hard time. Okay, Carmela, you have a question?
Yeah, it's so beautiful, wonderful. It could be one of the wonders of the US. Beautiful. When did you start gardening? Mori, when did you start gardening?
Can I
Gardening.
Oh, clearing the entire place
When
even
did
before we
you
moved
move
to
there?
the area. That was 25 years ago.
25 years ago.
Almost 25, yeah.
What
But
Modi's
was
50
that?
already.
Was the place already built up like that with many plants around it?
I think I was saying that in the beginning with pictures. And so we have a lot of mature trees, oaks, and the crepe myrtles were here, and the cedars, especially on the beaches, were have been here for the longest time. So those are the only ones. And then the evergreens, the pines in the around the vegetable gardens. And we started planting, as I said, small and slow. There was a doctor here who's an arborist as well. He owns, I think maybe 200 acres on the Chesapeake Bay. And he had always invited us to his place. He was one of the older doctors here. And he had a collection of hollies more than the botanical garden in Washington, D.C. had at that time. He has passed, but so he was telling us, because he knew that we were starting practice at that time. He said, just get gallon-sized plants, except for trees, you could go like maybe a couple of gallons in, and watch them grow, because those little ones, would be like your holly trees that covered the house if you weren't careful. The thing is, you have to know where to plant them. Foundation planting, you have to actually just have trees the corner of the houses, make sure that they're far away from the foundation of the house. Otherwise, you'll have flooding and a lot of problems later on. And in front of the windows, so tempting to actually buy big plants. And in 2 years, you have to actually be pruning them or even cutting them down.
Do you have problem with deal, Maddie?
I'm sorry?
Do you have problem with the deals?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because a lot of our friends are very jealous.
Because
we don't have
the problem, and I hate,
Oh, yeah, you want to kill them, right? But I guess, and I've seen them, because going towards the house, especially in the evening, you can see their bright eyes.
I even look at you when you are trying to chase them.
Right, but the long driveway to the left, around the driveway, are fields of beans and all those things that they could actually devour instead of coming to my garden. And for water, they could always go to the pond in the back, but they never bothered my garden, knock on wood. But my problems right now, especially every time I go in the morning to my tomato plants, you could see tomatoes on the ground, because half eaten. And you wanted to actually kill them squirrels, because
Yeah, that's another thing. Squirrels like to eat.
Yeah, and Modi has actually put fence. He fenced in our vegetable garden, but they can climb trees and jump from the tree into your garden, and they could always get out easily. So rabbits, they're a little slower, but the squirrels are the problem. Modi has used sensors so that the sound would actually deter them from coming in, but I don't know, it's not working this time. I don't want to poison them. I still want to do organic gardening using less pesticides and things like that. So stay away from all those. We just
Okay, Maddie, I think
bear it.
there's a special request from
Maddie,
yes.
How often do you fertilize the flowers?
Depending on what flowers we're talking about.
So, yeah, because they have you have different flowers.
Right,
and,
right. Rule of thumb is every 2 weeks, but sometimes you don't want to over fertilize them. The vegetable gardens every 2 weeks.
Let's say roses. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
hydrangeas. In addition to fertilizing them, you could modify the colors of the hydrangeas into, if you want it blue, then you want to have the soil acidic, and so you put like lemon nail, a rusted nail would actually make them blue. Yes, and to make, I like it pink though. Lavender to pink.
Wow.
So alum sulfate is what you use to make them pink. But so you fertilize, as I said, indoor plants, not much, because I don't want them growing, really profusely wild, right? I have a couple of bougainvilleas that still have it, and I don't want them growing. So pruning is very essential. I have a malunggay tree. It's really tall.
Malunggay.
Yeah.
Do you have to prune also the malunggay?
I have not pruned it. I just cut off the dead branches, and the branches are like smaller than my finger. And it's from RJ Garcia. But the thing is, we haven't been eating it because it's kind of rough. Another friend from Arizona sent me seeds, and what she was saying is that they have actually used it as fence because they grow up to your waistline, and it's more edible. I mean, palatable than this malunggay from Najin RJ.
Okay, I think I use your chicken.
Don Rudy.
Your chicken.
What?
Did I miss your chicken farm?
Oh, the chicken farm. Yeah, we have those. And the chicken. As I said, time is like it's of the essence as we prepared this video. I didn't get started until 2 days ago, and we have plants. It's good to have the chicken manure. Is good. You just have to wait until they are old and dry, because the wet manure, chicken manure, can carry bacteria. So yeah, and the good thing about chicken is if you get them free range, they can scratch the surface of the soil, so they're encouraging the good insects like caterpillars and flying mantis and the ladybugs to actually,
Okay, I think there's a request to see Modi, Dr. Modi Rivera.
With a lot of eggs, fresh eggs.
See that?
What if he doesn't want to be seen? Come on, Modi, come here.
Okay, let's see. Let's give Modi a big hand too.
Yay!
For his work in the presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So
let's see.
He can talk too. He can talk. Ouch.
Okay.
Hi, Modi. Okay. Okay. Say something, Modi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, Modi.
Si Modi.
Hindi nabubuk.
Hello.
You are the rich man of plant.
No,
Is Modi a farmer too?
I'm just having fun.
Oh yeah.
I'm just having
Nangingitim na nga eh.
Meron siyang farmer's arm. Kaya hindi
Kailangan ni Modi just
so,
for niya.
mag-ano ka, mag-alis ka na.
call her downstairs.
Oh, I want to mention that our next door neighbor, but